First Contact and Ultimatum. The quantum array at SETI's newest facility in the Chilean Andes picked up the signal at 3:47 a.m. local time. Dr. Sarah Chen had been about to end her shift when the distinctive pattern appeared on her holographic display, a perfect mathematical sequence that couldn't possibly be natural. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth confirmed it. An object was approaching from beyond Mars' orbit, decelerating in a way that defied known physics. The world's governments scrambled to respond, but for once, there was no panic, no chaos. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. The vessel that entered Earth's orbit 3 days later stretched nearly 2 kilometers in length, its hull composed of what appeared to be crystalline structures that shifted and flowed like liquid metal. It positioned itself above the neutral waters of the Pacific Ocean, and then it waited. The first transmission came in perfect English, Mandarin, Hindi, and every other major Earth language simultaneously. The holographic figure that appeared in the UN General Assembly and every major government center worldwide called itself Ambassador Xerath of the Galactic Federation of Aligned Systems. People of Earth, the being's melodious voice filled the chambers, its form shifting between various alien approximations of human body language. We have watched your development with great interest. Your species has reached a crucial junction, and we come offering membership in our protection initiative. The galaxy is vast and filled with dangers you cannot imagine. Under our guidance, you will be safe. Under our protection, you will prosper. Dr. Chen sat in the hastily assembled Scientific Advisory Committee in Geneva, analyzing every byte of data from the alien transmission. Something about the crystalline structure of their ship tugged at her memory, reminding her of her own research into quantum crystallography. While politicians debated the offer, she dove deeper into the signal's underlying structure. What she found chilled her to the bone. The quantum signature of the transmission carried embedded information, data that seemed innocuous at first glance, but revealed a horrifying truth when decoded through her experimental quantum array. The Federation wasn't what it claimed to be. Their protection initiative was a sophisticated form of species farming, collecting civilizations at crucial technological tipping points and subtly directing their development to serve the Federation's needs. The evidence was irrefutable. Hidden in the quantum noise were traces of thousands of other civilizations, their quantum signatures preserved like insects in amber, their consciousness and technology absorbed into the Federation's crystalline networks. When Dr. Chen presented her findings to the Emergency Council, the room fell silent. Admiral James Rodriguez, head of Earth's United Defense Force, was the first to speak. So they're not here to protect us. They're here to harvest us. Worse, Chen explained, pulling up complex quantum diagrams. They're here because they detected our early quantum computing experiments. They see us as a threat, but their protocols require them to offer absorption before elimination. If we refuse, they'll try to wipe us out. Rodriguez finished. But Chen wasn't finished. She smiled, an expression that seemed out of place given the gravity of the situation. Here's the thing. They don't know how far we've actually come. The quantum crystallography project I've been working on, it's not just for computing. We've managed to create a system that can interface with and potentially disrupt their crystalline technology. They think they're dealing with a civilization on the verge of quantum computing. They don't realize we've already cracked it. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. While the world's governments made a show of debating the Federation's offer, a secret plan was put into motion. Quantum resonators were activated in hidden facilities around the globe. A network that had been built in secret for decades hummed to life, its true purpose finally revealed. When Ambassador Xerath appeared again to receive Earth's answer, UN Secretary-General Maya Patel stood before the hologram with steel in her eyes. "We appreciate your generous offer," she began, her voice steady. "But humanity must respectfully decline." The ambassador's form flickered, its smooth diplomatic veneer cracking for just a moment. "I'm afraid you don't understand. This is not a choice. This is a courtesy. Your species will join us. Or, no, Paddle interrupted, something no species had ever dared to do before. I'm afraid you don't understand. We've decoded your quantum signatures. We know what you really are, what you do to the species you protect. And we have a counteroffer. She paused, allowing her words to sink in. Leave. Leave now and tell your Federation this. Earth is not your farm. We are not your resource. We are not your prey. We are humanity, and we will not be harvested. The ambassador's form destabilized completely for a moment, its crystalline nature showing through the holographic disguise. When it reformed, its voice had lost all pretense of diplomacy. You have made a grave mistake. The Federation does not tolerate. The signal cut off abruptly as Earth's quantum network activated, sending precisely calibrated pulses that disrupted the crystalline ship's communication systems. As alarms blared across the vessel, its crew discovered something terrifying. They couldn't access their weapon systems. Earth's quantum network had already begun its work, infiltrating and disrupting their crystalline technology at its most fundamental level. The massive ship began to retreat, its liquid metal hull rippling with what almost looked like fear. As it accelerated out of Earth's orbit, Dr. Chen watched from her facility in Chile, monitoring the quantum signatures. They'll be back, she said quietly. And they'll bring reinforcements. Admiral Rodriguez nodded, watching the same data streams. Good. That gives us time to prepare. And next time, we'll show them exactly what humanity can do when we're truly threatened. As the alien vessel disappeared into the depths of space, it carried with it a message that would shake the Federation to its core. Humanity was not merely another species to be harvested. They were something new, something different, something that had done the impossible. They had seen through the deception, developed countermeasures, and stood their ground. The game had changed. The hunters had just become the hunted. The hidden advantage. 3 months after the Federation's retreat, Earth had transformed. The facade of normal civilization remained, but beneath the surface, humanity was preparing for war on a scale never before imagined. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the heart of Project Prometheus, a vast underground facility carved into the Antarctic bedrock. Around her, thousands of quantum crystals pulsed with an ethereal blue light, each one containing more computing power than all of classical computers in human history combined. But it wasn't enough. It would never be enough against what was coming. The latest simulations are complete, her colleague, Dr. Raj Patel, announced, his holographic avatar appearing beside her. Physical presence was becoming rare these days. Too much work to be done. Too many facilities to coordinate. They'll bring roughly 300 ships next time. Standard Federation response to resistance. Sarah nodded, watching the quantum streams flowing through the crystals. And our chances, with current capabilities, 12% survival probability. Rad's avatar flickered. But that's not why you're smiling. She wasn't just smiling, she was grinning. Remember that anomaly we detected in their quantum signatures? The one that looked like consciousness imprints. The trapped civilizations. Hard to forget. They're not trapped. They're alive. Sarah waved her hand, bringing up complex quantum diagrams in the air between them. The Federation doesn't just harvest technology. They harvest entire civilizations, converting their consciousness into quantum data stored in their crystalline networks. They think they've enslaved them, but they've actually created their own weakness. Understanding dawned on Raj's face. The consciousnesses are still intact, still aware, and very, very angry. Sarah's fingers danced through the holographic data. We've established communication. Thousands of civilizations, all preserved in quantum storage, all waiting for a chance to fight back. We don't just have a defense network, we have an army inside their own systems. The news spread through Earth's defense network like wildfire. Admiral Rodriguez immediately called an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. Representatives from every major military and scientific institution gathered, either in person or via quantum-secured holograms. Dr. Chen, The Admiral began. "You're telling us we can turn their own captured civilizations against them?" "Better." Sarah stood, commanding the room's attention. "We can free them. The Federation's entire military advantage comes from their quantum crystal technology. Technology they stole and adapted from the civilizations they've harvested. But they don't fully understand it. They use it like we used to use computer code. As a tool. We've learned to communicate with it, to understand it as a living thing." She gestured, and the room filled with swirling quantum signatures. Every ship in their fleet is powered by crystalline matrices full of preserved consciousnesses. They think they've created perfect slaves, but they've actually built their fleet out of prisoners just waiting for a jailbreak. The implications were staggering. Earth hadn't just developed a defense against the Federation. They'd discovered a way to liberate thousands of enslaved civilizations. But time was running out. Long-range quantum sensors detected Federation fleet movements. They were gathering forces, preparing for an assault that would dwarf anything in their history. They couldn't allow Earth's defiance to stand, couldn't risk their true nature being exposed to other potential harvest worlds. In the months that followed, Earth's transformation accelerated. Quantum crystals were integrated into everything from city shields to personal devices. The consciousness of every human was quietly backed up, protected against the Federation's harvesting technology. But most importantly, they'd prepared their secret weapon. Dr. Chen called it the Prometheus Protocol, a quantum virus designed not to destroy, but to liberate. When the Federation ships arrived, they wouldn't just be fighting Earth's defenses. They would be fighting their own stolen technology, their own harvested civilizations, awakened and armed with the knowledge of how to turn the Federation's weapons against them. In her private moments, Sarah thought about the enormity of what they were attempting. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting to right a cosmic wrong, to free countless civilizations from quantum slavery. The Federation had spent millennia building their empire on stolen lives and stolen technology. They thought they were gods, playing with the fates of entire species. But they had never encountered anything like humanity before. While other civilizations had developed quantum technology as a tool, humans had learned to communicate with it, to understand it as a living, growing thing. Where the Federation saw resources to be harvested, humanity saw potential allies. Admiral Rodriguez visited the Antarctic facility one last time before taking command of Earth's primary defense fleet. He found Sarah in her usual spot, surrounded by pulsing quantum crystals. "The Federation thinks they're coming to harvest another civilization," she told him, not looking up from her work. "They don't realize they're actually coming to a prison break." "How many?" he asked quietly. "Thousands of civilizations. Millions of individual consciousnesses, all of them preserved, all of them aware, all of them waiting." She finally turned to face him. "We're not just defending Earth anymore, Admiral. We're about to rewrite the history of the galaxy." As if in response, the quantum crystals pulsed brighter, their light reflecting off the ice walls like stars. Somewhere out there, the Federation fleet was approaching, confident in their superior numbers and stolen technology. They had no idea they were flying into their own liberation. The hunt was about to begin, but this time, the hunters had become the prey in a way they could never have imagined. Turning the tables. The Federation fleet emerged from quantum space exactly where Earth's defense analysts had predicted, just beyond the orbit of Mars. 327 ships, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the sunlight, arranged in the Federation's standard harvest formation. At their center, a vessel twice the size of the others pulsed with stolen energy, its quantum signature screaming with the consciousness of countless imprisoned civilizations. In the Antarctic Command Center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched through quantum-enhanced sensors as humanity's plan began to unfold. The Federation ships moved with mechanical precision, each one taking its predetermined place in a complex three-dimensional grid designed to overcome any planetary defense system they had ever encountered. "They're launching their standard override protocols," Raj reported, his hologram flickering with nervous energy. trying to seize control of our communication networks, power grids, and defense systems. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Let them try. The Federation's quantum assault hit Earth's networks like a tidal wave and passed through harmlessly, finding nothing but cleverly designed decoys. The real systems, built on humanity's unique understanding of quantum crystallography, remained untouched and undetected. Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through the quantum-secured channel. All ships, maintain position. Let them think they're succeeding. Dr. Chen. Status of the Prometheus Protocol. Ready on your mark, Admiral. Sarah's fingers danced through holographic controls, making final adjustments to the quantum virus they'd spent months perfecting. Remember, once we start, we'll only have minutes before they realize what's happening. Every ship we free needs to be immediately contained in our quantum network, or we risk losing the consciousnesses stored inside. The Federation ships moved closer, their formation tightening as they prepared for what they thought would be a standard harvest operation. Their sensors showed Earth's defenses crumbling, their quantum probes reporting successful infiltration of decoy systems. Everything was proceeding according to their millennia-old playbook. That's when Sarah Chen launched humanity's counterattack. The Prometheus Protocol activated simultaneously across Earth's hidden quantum network. Thousands of quantum resonators, disguised as ordinary satellites and surface installations, began broadcasting a signal that the Federation had never encountered before. A wake-up call aimed not at their ship systems, but at the consciousness preserved within their crystalline matrices. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the Federation ships began to falter in their precise formation. The quantum signatures of their crystalline hulls fluctuated wildly as the imprisoned consciousnesses within began to awaken, becoming aware of their situation for the first time in centuries or millennia. By all that exists, Raj breathed, watching the cascade of quantum signatures. It's working. They're waking up. Inside the Federation ships, chaos erupted. The crystalline matrices that powered their technology, filled with the newly awakened minds of harvested civilizations, began to turn against their captors. Weapons systems went offline. Navigation failed. Internal security protocols collapsed. The Federation commanders, faced with a type of revolt they had never imagined possible, tried desperately to maintain control. They attempted to purge their systems, to reset their quantum matrices, but humanity's virus had spread too deep, had awakened too many imprisoned minds. Now, Admiral, Sarah called out, before they can start destroying their own ships. Earth's defense fleet emerged from hiding, their own quantum systems pulsing with power. But they weren't firing weapons. Instead, they were establishing quantum containment fields around each Federation vessel, creating safe havens for the awakening consciousnesses to transfer into. The Federation flagship, that massive vessel at the center of their fleet, was the last to fall. Its quantum signature flared like a dying star as thousands of imprisoned minds broke free of their bonds, turning the ship's own systems against its commanders. In their final moments of control, the Federation leaders transmitted a desperate warning to their home systems. The humans, they wake the dead. They free the taken. Retreat. Retreat from Earth at all. The transmission cut off as the flagship's quantum matrix completely collapsed, its crystalline hull going dark. Sarah and her team worked frantically to preserve and transfer the freed consciousnesses before the ship's systems failed completely. Hours later, when the quantum dust had settled, Earth's forces had captured the entire Federation fleet without firing a single conventional weapon. More importantly, they had freed over 10 million preserved consciousnesses, the accumulated harvest of thousands of years of Federation expansion. In the Antarctic Command Center, Sarah stood surrounded by the quantum signatures of the liberated minds. Each one represented a different civilization, a different species, a different story of resistance and capture. And now, they were all talking at once, sharing information about Federation strongholds, about other harvested worlds, about technologies and secrets that could help bring down the entire empire. Admiral Rodriguez's hologram appeared beside her. "Dr. Chen, the Federation survivors are secure, but we're detecting massive quantum space disturbances. They're mobilizing everything they have. This isn't over." Sarah nodded, watching the swirling patterns of freed consciousnesses around her. "No, it's not over. But the Federation just lost their greatest weapon and gained 10 million enemies who know all their weaknesses." She turned to face the Admiral's hologram. "They thought they were gods, harvesting civilizations like crops. Now those crops are coming back to haunt them." The liberated consciousnesses pulsed in agreement, their quantum signatures harmonizing in a display of unity that transcended physical form. The Federation had spent millennia building an empire on stolen lives and stolen technology. Now, thanks to humanity's unique understanding of quantum consciousness, that empire was about to face a revolution unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The real war was just beginning. The Great Deception. The Federation's response to their defeat at Earth was swift and massive. Quantum space rippled with the movement of thousands of ships, entire armadas diverted from harvest operations across the galaxy. In their 30,000 years of existence, the Federation had never faced a threat like this, a species that could not only resist harvesting but could free the very consciousnesses they had collected over millennia. But Earth was ready. In the month since the first battle, Dr. Sarah Chen and her team had worked tirelessly with the liberated consciousnesses, learning, adapting, and preparing for the Federation's inevitable counterattack. What they discovered changed everything. "They're not just an empire," Sarah explained to the Global Defense Council, her hologram projecting from the Antarctic facility. "They're a parasitic collective. Every Federation leader, every ship commander, they're all connected through the same quantum network that they use to imprison harvested civilizations." Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward. "A weakness. Better." Sarah's hologram gestured, bringing up complex quantum diagrams. "It's their entire command structure. They don't just share information. They share consciousness. It's how they've maintained control over such a vast empire. But it's also how we're going to destroy them." The plan that emerged was audacious. Instead of trying to defend Earth against the Federation's massive fleet, humanity would take the fight to them. But not through conventional warfare, through something far more subtle and devastating. Sarah worked with the freed consciousnesses to create what she called the Echo Protocol. Unlike the Prometheus Protocol, which had been designed to wake and free harvested minds, the Echo Protocol was designed to infiltrate the Federation's command network itself. "They think in quantum," Sarah explained to her team as they made final preparations. "Their entire society is built on the idea that they alone understand how to manipulate quantum consciousness. But they don't just manipulate it. They live in it. And that's their fatal flaw." The Federation fleet arrived in force, over 3,000 ships strong. They took up position beyond Mars' orbit, their quantum signatures blazing with power. But they didn't attack immediately. Instead, they began broadcasting on all frequencies. "Humanity," the message began, translated simultaneously into every Earth language. "You have committed crimes against the natural order. Your resistance has disrupted the Great Harvest. Surrender now, submit to integration, and your species may yet survive in some form." Earth's response was a single quantum pulse, so subtle that the Federation's sensors barely registered it. But that pulse carried the Echo Protocol, designed to exploit the one thing the Federation never thought could be used against them: their own quantum consciousness network. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The Federation fleet maintained its position, preparing for what they thought would be a straightforward, if difficult, harvest operation. But deep within their command network, the Echo Protocol was spreading, carrying with it the combined knowledge and experience of 10 million freed consciousnesses. The first signs of the protocol's effect were subtle. Federation commanders began experiencing doubts, memories that weren't their own bleeding through their quantum link. They saw themselves through the eyes of their victims, felt the terror, the rage, the helplessness of being harvested. The very network they used to maintain control became a conduit for their victims' experiences. Phase 1 complete, Raj reported, monitoring the quantum signatures. Their command structure is compromised. Moving to Phase 2. Phase 2 was where humanity's understanding of quantum consciousness truly showed its superiority. The Echo Protocol didn't just share memories. It began to fracture the Federation's unified consciousness. For the first time in their history, Federation leaders began to experience individuality, doubt, and most devastatingly, guilt. Ships began breaking formation as their commanders struggled with the psychological impact of experiencing their victims' memories. The Federation's perfectly coordinated attack plans fell apart as their command structure dissolved into chaos. But Sarah wasn't done. As the Federation fleet fell into disarray, she launched the final phase of the Echo Protocol. This wasn't just about defeating the Federation. It was about ending their threat forever. The quantum pulse that carried this final phase was stronger, more focused. It targeted the core of the Federation's shared consciousness, carrying with it a simple but devastating message: the truth about their own origin. They're not the advanced species they think they are, Sarah explained as the pulse went out. They're the result of a failed harvest thousands of years ago. Their ability to manipulate quantum consciousness isn't natural. It's stolen technology they barely understand. Everything they believe about themselves is a lie. The effect was catastrophic. The Federation's shared consciousness, already fractured by doubt and guilt, shattered completely as this fundamental truth reached them. Ships began powering down as their commanders, faced with the reality of their own stolen existence, lost the will to continue. In the Antarctic Command Center, Sarah watched the quantum signatures of the Federation fleet flicker and fade. They're not just retreating, she observed. They're surrendering. The Echo Protocol didn't just defeat them. It made them question everything they are. Admiral Rodriguez's hologram appeared, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. What happens now? We've just created a power vacuum across half the galaxy. Sarah smiled, gesturing to the quantum signatures of the freed consciousnesses that had helped make this victory possible. Now we help build something better. The Federation spent millennia harvesting civilizations, stealing their knowledge and technology. We're going to spend the next few centuries helping those civilizations rebuild. The quantum networks hummed with activity as the liberated consciousnesses began sharing their knowledge, their histories, their hopes for the future. The Federation had tried to create a perfect, unified empire through force and theft. In defeating them, humanity had inadvertently created something far more powerful, a true alliance of free civilizations, each unique, each valuable, each contributing to a greater whole. The age of the harvest was over. The age of restoration was about to begin. A new dawn. 5 years after the Federation's surrender, Earth had become the center of the greatest reconstruction effort in galactic history. The Antarctic facility, once a secret military installation, now served as the headquarters for what had become known as the Restoration Council, a coalition of human scientists and liberated consciousnesses working together to rebuild civilizations shattered by millennia of Federation harvest operations. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in what they now call the Confluence Chamber, surrounded by the quantum signatures of representatives from over 1,000 species. Some existed only as consciousness patterns in the quantum network, while others had already been restored to physical form through advanced bioengineering techniques, developed by combining human innovation with recovered Federation technology. The restoration of the Centauri sector is proceeding ahead of schedule, announced Cathrix, a consciousness that had once been part of a crystalline species harvested by the Federation 10,000 years ago. Their quantum signature pulsed with pride as they displayed holographic representations of rebuilt worlds. Thanks to the recovered genetic templates, we've successfully re-established viable populations on 3 primary worlds. Similar reports came in from across the galaxy. The Federation's fall had left behind vast territories filled with empty worlds, planets where civilizations had been harvested, their populations reduced to quantum data in crystalline matrices. Now, those same worlds were coming alive again as humanity helped restore their original inhabitants. But not everything was proceeding smoothly. Admiral Rodriguez, now serving as Earth's representative on the Restoration Council, brought up the next challenge. We're detecting increased activity in the Outer Rim. Some former Federation commanders have refused rehabilitation. They're gathering forces. Let them. Sarah replied, her confidence backed by 5 years of successful restoration efforts. The Federation's power came from their ability to harvest and control quantum consciousness. Without that, they're just raiders with stolen technology they barely understand. She gestured to the quantum network surrounding them, where millions of liberated consciousnesses worked together, sharing knowledge and resources. Besides, we're not alone anymore. Every civilization we restore becomes another ally, another partner in preventing anything like the Federation from rising again. The quantum network pulsed in agreement. What had started as a desperate defense of Earth had evolved into something unprecedented. A true symbiosis between organic life and quantum consciousness. Humanity's unique approach to quantum technology, treating it as a partnership rather than a tool, had created a new model for galactic civilization. In orbit above Earth, the former Federation flagship had been transformed into a memorial and museum. Its crystalline hull, once used to imprison harvested consciousnesses, now displayed the histories of thousands of civilizations, preserving their stories and cultures for future generations. It served as both a warning and a promise. Never again would one species be allowed to dominate and harvest others. Dr. Raj Patel, who had been working with a group of recently restored species in the Orient sector, brought the next report. We've made a breakthrough in consciousness transfer technology. The success rate for restoring quantum patterns to biological forms has reached 97%. Even civilizations that were harvested tens of thousands of years ago can now be fully restored. This news sent ripples of excitement through the quantum network. Many consciousnesses that had resigned themselves to eternal digital existence now had hope of returning to physical form. But more importantly, it meant that the Federation's greatest crime, the theft of entire civilizations, could finally be fully undone. Sarah moved through the quantum streams, feeling the pulse of countless minds working together. Humanity had not only survived the Federation's attempt to harvest them, they had transformed the galaxy's understanding of consciousness itself. The Federation had seen quantum technology as a means of control and imprisonment. Humanity had shown it could be a path to cooperation and growth. We've received another request for membership in the Restoration Council, Admiral Rodriguez announced. A species from the galactic core that managed to hide from the Federation. They say they've been watching our restoration efforts. They want to help. Sarah smiled. This was becoming more common. Species that had hidden or escaped from the Federation were emerging, drawn by humanity's approach to galactic cooperation. Where the Federation had ruled through force and fear, Earth led through example and mutual benefit. Remember when we thought we were alone in the universe? Sarah asked, watching the quantum signatures of countless civilizations swirl around them. Now look at us, at the center of the largest cooperative effort in galactic history. The quantum network hummed with activity as information and resources flowed between worlds. Former Federation storage facilities, once used to house harvested consciousnesses, were being transformed into restoration centers. Fleets of ships, their crystalline technology repurposed for peace, carried supplies and technical teams to worlds being reborn. We've received the final reports from the rehabilitation centers, Raj added. Most of the former Federation leadership has completed their treatment. Once they were disconnected from their command network and experienced life as individuals, they chose to help with restoration efforts. They're particularly valuable in locating hidden Federation facilities. This was perhaps the greatest victory, not just defeating the Federation, but transforming many of its former members into allies in the restoration. The Echo Protocol hadn't just broken their power. It had given them the chance to rediscover their own humanity, lost millennia ago in a failed harvest operation. As the day's council session ended, Sarah remained in the confluence chamber, watching the quantum streams of consciousness flow around her. Humanity had faced extinction and instead found its true purpose, not just surviving in the galaxy, but helping it heal from centuries of predation and fear. The Federation had called their conquest the Great Harvest. Now, a new age had begun, the Great Restoration, and at its heart was the simple truth that had defeated an empire. Consciousness, whether organic or quantum, flourished best not when controlled or harvested, but when free to grow, learn, and cooperate. Above the Antarctic facility, Earth's night sky blazed with the light of thousands of ships coming and going, not warships, but vessels of reconstruction and renewal. The galaxy was awakening, civilization by civilization, world by world. The age of the harvest was over. The dawn of restoration had begun.